Greetings! It is I, Shandalar van Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue my discussion on the lands, legends, planes, and planeswalkers of Magic the Gathering, where I take to you one of these elements and introduce you to its history, its details, to help add a little bit to the essence of the universe of Magic the Gathering. So today, I have another plane for you, Chandalar. Now, Chandalar is a rogue plane. That means it technically travels throughout the multiverse, never remaining in one area, one location for very long. It makes it very difficult to locate and travel to. The plane is also very mana-rich. This means there's so much magical energy in the plane that even the most common of folk know a few spells or two that they can use. Magic just permeates the entire plane. Originally, this was the setting of the Micropost Magic the Gathering computer game when that came out. That is where that originally was developed. But once Dominaria started developing all this post-apocalyptic idealisms to it, with the repeated apocalypse that occurred to it, Wizards wanted a baseline fantasy realm and used Chandalar for it. So it became the setting of many of the later core sets that came out. Chandalar became the core component of those sets. Now, Kenan Sharmal was a planeswalker upon Chandalar. He enjoyed the fact it had its great beauty and great magical power, and he loved the plane. But he could see that other planeswalkers would come here, especially because of the rich amounts of mana it would attract others to it, no doubt. And so he was a protector of this place. During the time of the Shard of 12 Worlds, Chandalar was able to move in and out of the Shard's barrier. This means that a planeswalker upon Chandalar could either travel into the Shard or out of it. If they waited for the points in time where it would effectively travel between the barrier, which it would on its own, it was an incredible opportunity for those planeswalkers that either wanted out of the Shard or wanted control of being able to get in and out of it. 3 planeswalkers, Faralin, Tevishzat, and Leshrac, all coveted this. Of course, Leshrac was accompanied by his powerful necromancer servant, lim-dul. The 3 of them all began to vie for control of Chandalar. And so, a 4-way war with Sharmal's forces began. Sharmal mounted an expert defense against the other 3 planeswalkers as Chandalar was ravaged by this war. He managed to kill Faralin and rout the other 2 planeswalkers. Unfortunately, in the aftermath, Sharmal is actually injured by lim-dul and disappears from the public eye. Lim-dul himself ends up being captured by Sharmal's forces and beheaded, supposedly killed forever. It was soon after this occurred, though, that Freyalise used Chandalar to cast the World spell that not only ended the Ice Age upon Dominaria, but broke the Shard, broke the barrier. Now 12 years passed, and lim-dul rose again, at a head of an army of undead, and began to invade city after city all across Chandalar, conquering much of its territory. Eventually, only one major city remained out of his control, Ardestin, the last hope, and the siege of that city began. In the background, Chandalar continued to develop himself as a guardian of the plane, and to do this, he took on 2 apprentices, Azur and an unnamed one. Now, the thing is, he was trying to instill patience in his apprentices, that they couldn't just dive into that siege, the siege of Ardestin. But Azur could not wait. He rushed forward. He took with him a specialized spell that was made to trap lim-dul in his own body and then use that energy to create a barrier similar to what had happened with the Shard around Chandalar. Basically, create a protective barrier specifically around Chandalar. Azur prepared to cast the spell, but lim-dul had been ready himself. You see, lim-dul survived beheading by transferring his spirit into another body. He now had plans to transfer his spirit into Azur. Both of them enacted their magic, but unfortunately the interaction with it caused an unusual effect. Both Azur and lim-dul's spirits existed within Azur's body. The two of them began vying for control, and Azur's body fell into a sleep, a permanent one. Shandalar took Azur's body and buried it. He sealed it away, because the Great Barrier had come into effect, and it would be in effect as long as lim-dul's spirit remained trapped. So after lim-dul and Azur were imprisoned, Shandalar continued to teach his remaining apprentice to become the guardian of Chandalar, and that's what he became known as, the Guardian. Shandalar once again disappeared from the plane, leaving the Guardian to protect it in his stead, and the people came to respect the Guardian just as much as they would have Shandalar, their planeswalker protector. The Guardian then decided to form 5 guilds. Each of these 5 guilds was based upon a different one of the mana: black, red, green, white, blue. Each of them would be ruled over by a guild lord, which would be determined by a great contest. And when the old guild lord would pass away, a new contest would be called on. It was soon after, though, that lim-dul won the battle against Azur in the body. And lim-dul rose, once again, to wage war to conquer Chandalar. This time, he focused on the 5 guilds. The battle was fierce, the Wizards' War. Unfortunately, during this period of time, the Black Guild Lord was struck down. But lim-dul was once again managed to be defeated. And this time, the Guardian took lim-dul's soul from Azur's body and imprisoned it within a magical artifact, therefore keeping the Great Barrier up, but once and for all, defeating the foul necromancer. Azur was gone, but Azur's body was not. The powerful magic energies that had once raged itself within this body had taken its toll. It rose up as a powerful undead, the Lich Lord Skaveslan, who would then become pretty much the eternal guild lord of the Black Guild. A powerful planeswalker soon after this, Arzakhan, became aware of Chandalar. He attempted to travel to Chandalar, but encountered the Great Barrier. The Guardian became aware of him, and tried his best to mount a defense against Arzakhan. But Arzakhan, he found ways of influencing the plane, found ways of possibly breaking the barrier. He saw an opportunity. He sowed subtle influence upon the guild lords. Eventually, his influence caused the guild lords to rise up against the Guardian and strike him down. He had taken the role of a benevolent benefactor to them. And now is when the true terror of the plane began, because he continued the influence. He needed the artifact with lim-dul's spirit destroyed, the barrier broken. In order to do this, he planted an idea in each one of the guild lords that only one of them could actually rule over Chandalar and cast the spell of dominion, be granted immortality, and rule over Chandalar for all time. This was a lie. But at the core of it was them seeking the source of the Great Barrier, seeking the artifact with lim-dul to shatter it. And that is the current state of Chandalar as we know it. Now, Chandalar has been home to other great forces. The Onaki were a powerful race of ogres, known for their mastery of magic and artifice. It is said that some of the most powerful artifacts ever were created by the Onaki. This, of course, includes the Chain Veil, the artifact that Kopalish, the demon, convinced Lanaves to retrieve from one of the Onaki catacombs. It is also important to note that Zarthid, the demon, is worshipped in many parts of Chandalar and has a powerful influencing effect there also. Let's talk about some of the locations within Chandalar. The Aloran Wilds are a place of massive wildfires, twisted vines and plants, where there is great beauty and great mana flowing through everything there. But there's also great dangers. Not only the life that lives there, but the vines themselves have been known to tangle up travelers and to never let them go, that their bodies may fuel the next generation of plants that live there. Evos Isle is a mysterious place far from any of the normal trade routes. It is ruled over by powerful sphinxes and protected by swift and dangerous Aven. Colonia is a place of massive beasts and savage worms. A place that is most often described as a massive overgrown jungle. But to the trained eye, you can see the hidden paths within it. For the Onaki, the ogres, once had their civilization within Colonia, and many of their catacombs, perhaps hidden with some of their powerful artifacts, still remain under the lush jungle. In the nowadays, this is where the slivers of Chandalar make their lives. This is where the sliver Hive Lord exists, ruling over all the hives within Chandalar. From this place, the Capsho Sea is off the coast of Martyrdom, one of the major coastal cities within Chandalar. This place is ruled over by Talrend, a powerful merfolk hydromancer and ally to the Drakes, almost a master of them. Lesh is a city of murderers and thieves. It is a place of vile corruption, but it is on one of the most important trade routes in all of Chandalar. So the powerful and corrupt merchant guilds rule over it, with the corrupt city guard always ready to take a bribe. It is said that it was named for a powerful dark god, long since forgotten, but perhaps not quite, deep within the underground of Lesh. No, the Onaki catacombs, which I had mentioned, under Colonia, they stretch under most of the jungle itself. This was the center of the Onaki civilization. It is massive, a maze of catacombs, of tunnels, of places where there can be dark secrets, powerful artifacts, and even darker things protecting said stuff. Thun is a powerful nation ruled by the ancient capital city of Ankaras. Their knights patrol many plains and areas, farmlands, outside of the city itself, hoping to keep law and order and protect those against the terrible evils of the world. Valkis is the tallest mountain in all of Chandalar, surrounded by a range of much smaller mountains. This is home to the plains dragons, but it is also a place that many mages who master fire seek out. The base of Valkis is where much of the red mana in all the plain congregates, a place of much magical energy, and those that master fire would be fools not to attempt to learn, tap into this energy. So, that's it for today. I introduced you to Chandalar, a rogue plane originally created only because of a computer game. That's only the reason it was created. But as Dominaria suffered from so many cataclysms, it moved away from the true fantasy that Magic originally had. It moved very far from it. And Wizards needed to come back to it. So they moved back to Chandalar. M10 and beyond, many of them were focused on Chandalar. Many of the core sets from M10 and beyond, where we moved away from the normal core set naming, focused on this plane, focused on Chandalar. And the plane itself, we know, has a rich history. It was connected, of course, to the breaking of the Shard and the ending of the Ice Age on Dominaria. But it has seen its share of battles. Lim-dul the Necromancer battled greatly here. He finally lost his war. But the protectors of the plane have all been eliminated, and the guilds, which were put in place to help protect it, now war amongst themselves, while the normal nations and various creatures that live there attempt to survive. We also see some interesting things there. The Onaki's ruins. Though they are long since dead, some of their spirits don't remain quiet. And of course, their powerful artifacts could still be claimed. The slivers. They exist here too, just as they do in Dominaria. But they're different than they are on Dominaria. They've evolved in a different way. Some more humanoid than others. A fascinating thing. Still, many nations still exist here and eke out an existence on a place that's now very much so war-torn in a way. The battle between the guilds is going to continue until the influence of the planeswalker who caused it is lost, or the barrier which protects Chandalar is finally broken. Whichever occurs first. It'll be interesting to see what finally happens if we do revisit it at some point in the future. But if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It's just for the channel, the Empire, the work I do. If you want to show some extra support, you could always check out my Patreon, link description below. If you want to see some other great Magic the Gathering content, I can recommend Card Bazaar, They Said, We Said, and Tasty Snackies. They are my friends of the multiverse. They also do some great Magic the Gathering content I could recommend checking out. But until the next time, I bid you farewell.